When I started the massive renovation project on this 100-year-old fourplex 2 years ago, I bought a shipping container to store construction materials and tools. The plan has always been to convert it into on-site mini storage for the tenants. And that's what we're doing today on the Profitable Properties YouTube channel. Oh wow. So I want to move this container, which weighs 4890, so basically 4,900 pounds plus another couple thousand pounds worth of stuff in it. So 7,000 pounds worth of stuff, we'll call it, with a crane that's not rated for 7,000 pounds at this distance from the truck. It's an 8,000 pound crane. It will lift up 8,000 pounds directly if the crane's up at an angle like this, but we're trying to pull sideways, which is not what this is designed for. The container needs to be repositioned to make the best use of the parking lot behind the building. The plan is to eventually paint it green so it blends in with the trees behind it. For today, my dad brought his service truck by to help out, and at first things looked really promising. There we go. It's crazy to watch your whole thing just flex. Eventually, the progress with just the crane stopped because we couldn't move the truck any closer to the fence. That's just more torque on the truck. They don't like that. So next, we tried to use a hand winch strapped to a tree and fought for several more inches. Eventually, though, we had to admit that this gamble didn't pay off, and we needed some more appropriate equipment. But when you have a big crane available, why not use it to straighten your massive brick mailbox?
Literally floating. Literally, I have to look how big that field is. And I have to go, look how big that is.
With that little chore done, it's time to get back to the shipping container with some more appropriate equipment. Luckily, the tow truck driver was game for the challenge and very patient with me. Calling the shipping container delivery company might have seemed like an easier way to do this. However, putting the container at a 30-degree angle would have really upset everything inside, and the delivery driver would not have enough maneuvering room to get his trailer out from underneath the container after it was in position. Also, 100% disclosure, one of my guilty pleasures is watching tow truck shows like Highway Through Hell, so this served two purposes. I took way too much video of this process, and I'm probably leaving too much in this video, but I regret nothing. We eventually got the container where I wanted it without so much as moving anything inside, thanks to the tow truck driver. Alright, so here it is. This is the inside of the shipping container, and we're cutting the doors. I've already took a bunch of notes, so I just scribe it with my knife wherever that went. I'm leaving specifically little sections like this one right here and then this one right here because I'm not going to open this up today. We're going to come back whenever I have the welder on hand and knock those last little bits out once I've done all the measuring and hard work and stuff, and being able to hang our doors. Yeah, I think this will be all right. Maybe 4x4 angle iron was a bit of a stretch because I don't necessarily need it to go out that far. This is only, the base plate of this thing is only like 3 inches, so it's going to overhang a little bit, and that's okay with me. There's really only one reason I decided to make the door frames in my garage, but the sweet sound system helps too. If you want to see how I installed that mini split ceiling cassette in my garage, the link is up in the corner. Now we have to turn our attention to joining up all the metal for the door frames. I decided to do it in this order because the doors require some very specific measurements, and the holes in the container are really based on the size of the door frames. Also, if I can avoid welding in a metal oven in South Texas during the month of August, I'll do it. With the frames tacked together and squared up, it's time to lay down some final welds. Absolutely ace those cuts in there. here. Nice. I tacked in this little stringer to hold the feet exactly 46 inches apart, and it came out perfect. I picked up these doors from Facebook Marketplace for a fraction of the new price, and the instructions were available from Janice online, making the whole process much easier. The door rolls up at the top, and it requires 17 or so inches of clearance to do so. This meant I had to trim the door tracks at the bottom to give the headroom at the top that was required. And since I lopped off the lower mounting bolt hardware access holes, I had to punch a couple of new holes, but precision was not really required. Definitely weren't doing anything sketchy there. And things were going so well, until I broke one of the mounting tech screws off in the angle iron. I tried to remove it, but, then I broke my drill bit inside the broken bolt. Since precision isn't a requirement, I ended up lopping it off and sinking another screw right beside it. Well, there she is, all put together. Only downside is the hole right here for the latch should be there now, because we did shorten it, right? So that distance that we shortened it, the latch is going to be up. But everything else looks like it's working out pretty nice. But I'm going to get this one carried out to the truck. Second one went pretty quick. It's all built. Ready to load up and take to the house. After some moving around, this is my setup. Got the plasma cutter. Got the MIG welder. I got this new stinger put on my welder because as I was backing into the driveway, this being so low, it squashed my other stinger wire. This thing fell off the edge here and it squished underneath. It's a real bummer. There's the air compressor for the plasma cutter, toolbox, welder generator. I'm not bringing the leads for it. I've got that. It's got all my welding hood and stuff on it. And then, most important, I got an ice chest. All right, so the day has arrived where we are now going to take and put these doors in the side of this container. All of our experimentation is going to take place in here. It's miserable in here, as you might expect, but we are doing it. And yes, I have a fan in here, but it's not enough. So I've got this other one that's already built out in here. I ratchet strapped this frame, and you can see now where the lines that I cut don't line up except for the top. So we'll get it up. I want to measure this and make sure that's what it requires. And then once we've got that, I'll go ahead and scribe a line on all this, and then I'll cut wherever the scribe line is. And hopefully this just slides in real nice and tight so that I have a nice surface to weld to and I don't have big gaps to fill. Now the only other safety precaution that I have going on is my truck here, which I'm leaving running, little Tacoma, leaving it running with the AC on so that every work rest cycle I can just go ahead and jump in and cool off. Super sketch. We can do it with one person, kind of. Well, I got the door set in the frame. I measured it out. It's 1 inch at the bottom, and it'll stick out 1 inch from everywhere. So we'll have like this 1 inch lip up here. Whenever this comes out properly, it'll look a lot like that one right there. And that should deflect the rain off the top of it. We'll throw a bead of weld up there all the way across, and then some sealant, and then we'll paint it. It's kind of what I imagined. It's not beautiful, but what we'll do is we'll paint this whole thing just dark green, except for the doors. We'll leave them white. But man, it looks pretty nice. I mean, the dirty doors kind of match the rest of it for now, so it looks like it's been that way for a while. Got this big Herkin piece of steel back here. Can steel a little bit more of it to build that other threshold. That's where I got the first one from. And then after that, we cut some holes in the doors and then put the proper locks in, and this thing's ready to go. Instead of doing what they said and shoving a piece of the sheet metal through to this little opening that exists and punch it through and then screw it, I just went ahead and welded some spare metal that came from the actual cutting of the container and folded it over, and that's my stop now. I just did it with a plasma cutter. It is not pretty, but it will do the job. So I'm gonna adjust this right here, and then we can lock it and go for the first time. Locks with the key, winning. I just could not look at these grody doors anymore, even though it wasn't finished. So I busted out the pressure washer and cleaned them up a little bit. It looks so much better now. I didn't record much of the process of framing out the walls and covering them with plywood because it was pretty straightforward. Luckily, I had the plywood left over from the renovation that filled out the wall between the first two units. After some pressure washing, it looks a little better. We didn't quite get finished with that one yet, but this one is what the other one was going to look like. Got the actual key working. The only thing I need now is an actual handle, but it opens nice. I literally could not have gone worse. You know, I did pressure wash the front of this, so I'm assuming that's why this is all soaked. Normally, water wouldn't get in this far. That's what that threshold lip is for. Got a vent back there and our plywood wall separating the two. Well, we got the doors stop falling off by adjusting the stops. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, and come back next time where we'll paint this monster, talk about how much we spent, what the rent will be, and how it'll pay itself off a lot faster than you might think. Thanks for stopping by. We'll see you next time.